Hello, everybody, and welcome to lesson 2 in our booklet, which is called Fractions 1. And we're starting on page 9. And the very first page is homework, so you can put 80 on top. And then the next page is notes. Make sure you always write that on top so you don't get marked down if something isn't skipped or something. So when we add proper fractions, first of all, a proper fraction, the top number, which is called the numerator, is less than the bottom, which is called the denominator. Okay, makes it a proper fraction. For example, 2/3 is a proper fraction because your top number is smaller than the bottom number. When we add or subtract, by the way, proper fractions, we always must have a common denominator. So in other words, the number has to be the same. And remember, the denominator is the bottom. The numerator can be different. And common denominator means same number. Hopefully, it's the least common denominator. In other words, it's the smallest number possible, because otherwise you have more work. So common denominator, we want the least. If not, it's any common denominator will do. Common denominator means it's the same number on the bottom. The top, the numerator can be different. Okay, we're skipping the top, so cross that out. Okay, this up here is important that you realize you cannot just add top and bottom. You have to have the same number on the bottom, and we know how to fix it with our big one. Okay, so we need to draw a picture and write a number sentence. The picture in your homework, if you can't draw the picture, don't worry about it. Then at least do it with a number sentence in the homework. Okay, I'll show you what the picture means. So we have 1/3 plus 1/6. Notice we do not have a common denominator. The numbers are different. We have to fix it. Okay, but here's the picture. So one whole is usually draw a rectangle for one whole. Yeah, that means a big one. And then I have 1/3, so I'm going to divide it into 3 equal parts. So you have 1/3, that means one of that, I shade, that's 1/3. 1/6 is 6 parts. So the same picture, I'm going to divide 6 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice by cutting it in half lengthwise, I make 6 compartments. So 1/6 would be, if I add this much, that's 1/6, correct? So how much do I have? One each now turned from 1/3 into 1/6. In other words, each compartment is 1/6. Noticed? That's the common denominator. So we have these two plus this one is 3/6, but also notice it's 1/2 of the whole. Notice this right here is 1/2 of the total shape. So 3/6, we want it in lowest terms, or simplified would be 1/2. Here is your number sentence. This is what number sentence means. We're going to do it with math. So I need to find a common denominator, which my lowest common denominator, remember I showed you, you list the multiples, 3, 6, 9, just start with a few, don't need to do a lot, because notice 6, 12, notice right away that the 6 is the one they have in common, and it's the lowest number they have in common. Notice they also have a 12 in common, but this is the lowest. So my lowest common denominator is 6. So I have to expand. I have to multiply by a big 1, top and bottom. 3 times 2 makes it 6, plus, this is already there. We don't need to expand. Then I have to multiply this out. I always have to multiply before adding. Okay, 1 times 2 is 2. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1/6. 2 plus, now I have a common denominator. I can add the top. I don't have to add the bottom. The bottom stays, okay? But the top, 2 plus 1 is 3. So remember, we ended up with 3/6, which is the same as 1/2. So there's our number sentence. Okay, let's try another one. Again, on the homework, if you're not sure about the picture, try it. If it's too much, drop it. It takes a little experience, but at least I want you to try it. But don't fret if it's too hard. We can do it together in class when we come back, okay? 3/4. So I'm starting out with a big 1. That's my rectangle. I prefer to draw a rectangle for a big 1. And I want 3 out of 4. So I'm going to divide it into 4 equal compartments. 1, 2, 3, 4. I always count them, and I want 3 out of those. 3 out of 4 plus 1/3. Notice, how am I going to divide that into 1/3? Watch, I have a little trick. I'm going to do it sideways. I'm going to divide it into 3. So the 1/3 is on top. So this is 1/3 of my whole. This would be 2/3. This would be 3/3 of the whole, right? Well, I already have the blue shaded, but I need to shade also. I need to add 4 of these. Am I correct? So let's think how we're going to do this. I need to add 1, 2, 3, 4. So okay, I had to think about that for a second, but so I need to add 4 of these compartments, which is 1/12, 2/12, 3/12, 4/12, which is my 1/3. So I'm going to use a different color. So this would be one of the compartments, 2, 3, and I have to add a little 1 here. This tells me my answer is going to be bigger than 1. Each little compartment, because we have 12 little squares, is 1/12. So I have one whole. So I have one whole, and that extra little one is 1/12. So that's going to be my answer. I'm going to move that over so we have more room for our math work. All right, so let's do number sentence. The common denominator, again, we want the lowest common denominator. We're going to list the multiples of each number: 4, 8, 12, 16, and then I'll stop. Hopefully I'll catch it. And then the 3, 6, 9, 12. Notice 12 and 12 is the first number that both have in common. So my lowest common denominator is 12. So that's what I need to expand to, 3/4. And I'm multiplying by a big 1. So that's going to be 4 times 3 is 12. Use your multiplication chart if you have to figure out what you need to multiply with to get to the lowest common denominator. Then comes the plus here, and I have to do something to the 1/3. The big one is 4. So remember, the bottom we multiply out. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. Then comes the plus. 3 times 4 is 12. 1 times 4 is 4. The denominators we are not going to add. It's just one time. You list it once. The top we add. 9 plus 4 is 13. This is called an improper fraction because it's bigger than 1. The numerator is bigger than the denominator. So we get a 1. 12 goes into 13 one time. The remainder is also 1 over 12. So this way is the math, the number sentence. This way is the picture. Okay, now Ignatius added these proper fractions this way. 3/4 plus 3/5 is 6/9. He added the denominators. That's wrong. You have to find a common denominator. It's wrong. So now let's see explain why this result, 6/9, does not make sense. So he got 6/9, 3/4 plus 3/5. 3/4 is almost 1. 3/5 is another big, it's bigger than 1/2. 6/9, when you reduce, divide by 2, no, divide by 3. So when you simplify or reduce, you're dividing by the big one. 6 divided by 3 is 2. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 2/3 is smaller than what you started with. 2/3 is smaller than 3/4. Well, when you add numbers, the result is always bigger, okay? The result is less than what you started with, which is not and it says find the correct sum. So we need to find a common denominator. So between 4 and 5, 8, 12, 16, 20, and 5, 10, 15, 20. My common denominator is 20. So now I know what to do. I have to expand, multiply 3 times 5. 5 is the number. Plus 3/5. Multiply 5 times 4 is 20. Then we have our common denominators. We're only going to write the denominator one time. We're not going to add those. Three times 5 is 15. 3 times 4 is 12. 15 plus 12 is 27. That's an improper fraction. So we have a whole number. 20 goes into 27 one whole time with a remainder of 7 over 20. This would be the correct answer. A little more trickier than what he did, right? But most students want to jump right in and add the top and add the bottom. Nope, not when you add or subtract fractions. You have to stop and find a common denominator, okay? So this page should say notes, and the next page is also notes. Okay, some subtracting also must have common denominator, cannot just simply add or subtract across. Okay, So Ed has 3/8 of a stick of butter in his refrigerator. Notice we already have a picture with 8 equal pieces. So he took 3/8 out. So I'm shading 3 out of the 8 he took away, right? He uses 1/4 of a whole stick to make pancakes. Oh wait, Ed has 3/8 of a stick of butter in his refrigerator. Oh, he only has this much. He didn't take it out. That's what he has left. So the part I shaded, he has left. So I had to read this really carefully. I thought he took it out. Okay, what's left? Now he's using 1/4 of a whole stick. So from the whole stick, this is your whole stick, he uses 1/4. So how much is that? That's 2 little, right? 1/4, if he uses this much, you can see how there's 4/4 like this, and he uses 1/4. So that's gone. So how much is left? This green part. This is left. So how much is that of the whole? 1/8. Because it's 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 we started with, right? And now the number sentence. So the diagram helps you kind of visualize it, but it's easier when the teacher does it, I think. 3/8, but try it at home when you do your homework. All right, I wanted to show you a shortcut that I show my students when they're a little more experienced. You can always do it this way, but the only problem is you're going to have to simplify your fraction at the end. So if you start out by drawing this little picture like that with the arrows. So watch, you multiply, it's always multiplying. First, I should say, okay? 8 times 4, 8 times 4 is 32, right? 4 times 3 is 12. 8 times 1 is 8, and the minus goes in the middle. See how the minus is right here? Then we have to subtract 8. 12 minus 8 is 12 minus 8 is 4. The denominator stays 32. Notice 4 out of 32 is the same as 1/8, but you got to figure that out by dividing by the big 1. 4 goes into 4 and 4 goes into 32. Use your multiplication chart to figure that out. 4 divided by 4 is 1. 32 divided by 4 is 8. So there is an option for you if you're having a hard time with the lowest common denominator. If you cannot find it and you're like, I don't get it, this option works. However, in the end, you got to reduce it. You got to simplify your fraction. That's the only thing. Okay, let's try the next question. I'll do it one more like that so you can see it. Remember, the other way was on the previous page. This, finding the lowest common denominator, multiplying by the big 1, and in those cases, you most likely do not have to reduce or simplify your fraction because it's the lowest number. Okay, let's see. Jody buys 2/3 of a yard of fabric. So when you buy fabric, which most people don't do anymore, you go, they have it at Walmart. If you look by the, when you walk in, it's right back there to the right, way back there. They have fabric and they lay it out on the table and they measure it by yard and then they cut the piece off you want to make something, okay? So Jody buys 2/3 of a yard. So the whole rectangle is the whole 1 yard. And it's cut into 3 pieces for us. They're making it easy. And now my pen doesn't want to work. Hang on. Oh, gosh. Hurry up. My internet must be not connecting. Hang on. Hate for you to have to wait. Oh, you know what? Maybe I need to plug it in. Okay. So 2/3 she buys. So I'm shading 2 out of 3. Jody buys 2/3 of a yard of fabric. She uses 1/2 yard to make a pillow. So how much fabric is left? So we have to subtract the 1 yard, the 2/3 minus the 1/2. So I have to cut it now in half, my whole yard. She uses 1/2. So, but before I'm gonna cut it into more pieces. I'll say this is a piece and this, just so I have equal sizes. So how many pieces did I cut it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I cut it into 6 equal pieces to subtract my 1/2 yard. So this much she already used of her 2/3 yards. So that's gone. What's left is the green part. So how much is that green part right here? Well, we cut it into 6 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's 1/6 of the whole thing left. And the math looks like this. She buys 2/3 of a yard and she uses 1/2 of the yard to make a pillow. So let's try the little shortcut I showed you. So you use your little arrows, left, right, this way, and that way. Left, right, and across. And remember, it's multiplying. 3 times 2 is 6. 2 times 2 is 4. Then comes the minus. 3 times 1 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1/6. In this case, we're lucky. We don't have to reduce. So that's the answer. Why do we need to use common denominators when we subtract or add? It's the same rule, by the way. It's because the parts must be the same. Remember how I cut it into 6 parts so that they're all the same? The parts must be the same. Why do we usually prefer a lowest common denominator? It makes the number smaller. It gives smaller numbers to work with. And we like smaller numbers rather than big ones. Okay. All right, number 4, let's practice. Draw pictures and write number sentences. Okay, 1/3. So my whole, cutting it into 3 parts. 1/3 is this much. But now I'm subtracting 1/6, so I have to cut my picture into 6 parts, equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I always count my parts, make sure I did it right. And I want to subtract 1 of those. So what's left? So I'm going to take this one away, cut it off. So now I have left this much. The green is what I have left. This is gone. Okay, so how much is that of the whole? Let's look. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 1 of the 6 pieces left. So let's do the math. We can do our trick. So 3 times 6 is 8. 6 times 1 is 6, minus, don't forget that minus here in the middle, 3 times 1 is 3. 6 minus 3 is 3 out of 18. Is the same as 1/6. We have to reduce. (18) divided by 3 is 6. 3 divided by 3 is 1. Okay, and one more over here. 3/4. So I'll draw my whole rectangle, cut it into 4 equal parts. All right, let's try it like that. 1. Start in the middle, actually. The half is the easiest, and then that in half and that in half. So I got this much to start with. Always use the big one, the whole shape, to finish your problem. And you 1/3. Now I have to think, how am I going to cut this into 3 equal parts? I will do it this way. Sometimes it's easier to do it this way. So 1/3 would be this much. This is 2/3. This is right here, 2/3 of the whole, 3/3 of the whole. So one way I cut it into 4s, one way I cut it into 1/3. How many little squares do I have now? 12, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's my common denominator, the 12. But I need to take away 1/3. Well, this little square is missing, so I'm going to put this one right here and get rid of it here. So I'm moving this little to here because I want to fill up that 1/3. So this is all gone. And what's left, so this is take away, right? 1/3 is gone. So what's left is the green. Oh, no, not that. That's gone. I moved it up in that corner. I moved that over here. I kind of stuck it up there. So how many pieces do we have left out of the 12? 5, right? 5 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's our visual. And now let's look at our little trick. 4 times 3. 4 times 3 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. Minus 4 times 1 is 4. 9 minus 4 is 5 over 12. So that's how that works. I'm going to skip this down here. I'm hoping you guys are getting it. Make sure you cross the things out that I cross out so it matches what I have when I grade your books. Okay, now I think the next page is homework. You're doing the same thing. Again, draw pictures, try, and the number sentence must. Drawing pictures, you try it, but you definitely want to use math. The number sentences are the math, okay? So all of these down here, there's a mistake. You got to do it correctly, okay? Notice 5 plus 4, 9. She just added straight across. She didn't find the lowest common denominator. And I don't know if we have any more for this lesson. One more page. Oh yeah, these nice little word problems. These are really cool. Okay, so we're now on page 13. And I'm going to do 2 and you'll do 1 for homework. So it's notes plus homework. So I'm going to do number 1. You guys are doing number 2. And I also do number 3, okay? Kendra took 1/2 of the colored pencils in a box. I always like to look right away where numbers are, so I know I need them, okay? So she takes them out. That means subtract. Taking out is subtracting. She didn't add any. Then Myra took 1/6 of the total number of pencils. That's important because it's not 1/6 of what's left, it's 1/6 of what we started with. Okay, that's super important. After that, there were 12 pencils left. The 12 pencils are not a fractional part. They are actually the number of pencils. It's a difference. How many colored pencils were in the box to start with? Explain your thinking. Ooh, okay, so right away I see I can draw one big box. That's where all my colored pencils are. That's my total number of pencils. I don't know how many there are. That's what I'm supposed to answer, right? So all pencils are in this box, right? She took one, so this gal comes and she grabs half of them. Wow, big chunk. So I'm cutting this box in half. She took all of these. They're gone. Okay. So now this is left. Then Myra took 1/6 of the total. So if she didn't take 1/6 of this or of this, what's left, she took 1/6 of the total, which is what you started with. So this is why reading is so important. You have to make sense of what those words mean. Okay, so from the total box, she takes 1/6. So how many compartments do I need? I need to make 6. So this is 1/2. So I need 3 on this side, equal, and then 3 on the other side will make it 1/6. So make sure you have 6 compartments. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Each is 1/6. Okay. So she took 1/6 of the total. So she's taking one of those. That's 1/6. So now all that's gone, right? And now there are 12 pencils left. So this part right here equals 12 pencils. So this is left. So this is left before the 12 pencils were taken out. So now let's think, how much is left? What fraction is left? If you look at the big picture, what fraction of the whole box is left? This is gone, this is gone. I'm grouping it 1, 2, 3 by thirds. So there's 2/3 of box is left. Okay, so the 2/3 represent 12 pencils. So this is 12 pencils. Okay, how many colored pencil were in the box to start with? So if this part is 12 and they're all the same parts, then this is 12 and this is 12 as well. Makes sense, I hope. 12, that's in this part, another 12 in this part, and then the third 12 that are left, right? These are already gone. So now we can say that the whole box is 12 plus 12 plus 12, which is 36 pencils to start with. So there were 36 pencils in the box to begin with. All right, well, if you didn't get that, let's try one more. So this is your job right here, and it's the same as this one. So for me, visuals in these cases help. Okay, now we're going to jump to number 3. You can always pause and look at it again. Make sure you understand your notes and try to make sense. Sometimes we have to pause and try to make sense of things to learn. We can't just hurry through things and expect that we get it. Yeah. Sometimes we have to take a few minutes and look at it and go through it in our brain and our mind to see what exactly happened here. And that takes time and practice and experience. Okay. So number 3, the gym teacher, Mrs. Silverberg, this is not important. Some of the information in these word problems are superficial. In other words, it doesn't matter if it's the gym teacher, it doesn't matter what her name is. This is important. She brought 96 oranges to school one day. So I like underlining mostly the numbers, yeah? And several of her students wanted one. 1/3 of the oranges were eaten before school started. 2/6 of them, of the whole thing, were eaten during snack break. Notice it doesn't say 2/6 of what was left. That would actually change the answer. It's 2/6 of the whole. That's why this is important. 2/6 of them, the one she started. And notice what's different is they're giving us the numbers to begin with. And the other problem, we didn't know. That's the number we had to look for. How many were there to start with? So this is a little different. 2/6 of them were eaten during snack break. 1/6 of them, again of them, were eating during lunch. 13 of them. So that's not a fraction. See the difference? These fractions all say TS at TH at the end. 6th. It doesn't mean 6 oranges. It doesn't mean 2 oranges. It means 2 out of 6 parts of the oranges were eaten. But this is actually a number, not a fraction. How many oranges are left? We got a different questions this time, okay? So again, I'm gonna draw me a big picture, and the big rectangle is all the orange she brings. And I know that's 96 of them, right? So this is all 96 oranges in this rectangle, 100% of the oranges. 1 out of 1. Okay, she brought 1/3. So the first thing I have to do, divide it into 3. They are gone, eaten. So what's left is 2/3, right? 2/6 of them were eaten during snack break, but now I have to divide it into 6 pieces. A quick way to do that is just do it. This is called horizontally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So remember, we only have this much left, and 2/6. That's the same as 1/3, by the way. So now they're eating this many. Notice 2/6 is the same as 1/3. So now they're eating that. That's what's left, okay, after snack break. So now we have 1/3 left out of the whole. 1/6 of them were eating during lunch. So now during lunchtime, they're eating one of these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're eating one of them. And now this what's left is 13. This means this is left before, and then 13 oranges, not 13th part oranges left. And they were eaten after school. So now we're going to eat those too. So I shouldn't say oranges left. So that is a mistake what I just did. So now I'm going to take that out. I just realized this is not 13. This is what's left from the 96. So now we want to know if they eat 13 more after school, are there any left? If any, how many are left, if any? So we have to figure out if this little box right here, how many oranges are actually in this little segment, in this little section here. Okay, we know all of them are 96. So how many are in each part? Well, I can figure that out by dividing 96 divided by 6. And then I know how many do I put in each section here. 96 divided by 6, I can do it this way. Let's practice a little long division. 6 goes into 9 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. Subtract. 9 minus 6 is 3. Bring down the next number. 6 goes into 36 6 times. 6 times 6 is 36, and there's no remainder. So each fractional part contains 16 oranges. Let's try red. So there's each part has 16 orange. Notice the difference. 1 6, 1 6, 1 6, but 16 oranges represent 1/6 with a TH out of the whole box. So there's 16 oranges left after school and 13 are eaten. So that's okay. So 16 and 13 more are eaten. So there's 3 oranges left by the time she gets done with school. Yeah, 13 of them were eaten. So we're going to take another 13 and then there's 3 oranges left. Okay, guys, this was a little tricky. I agree. I want you to try number 2. Number 2 is the same as number 1. It is not telling you how many are in there altogether. You have to figure out what is going on, and you have to figure out how many were in the beginning. So it's just like number 1. Okay, good luck to you. And I believe this is it for lesson 2.